Over the summer, a friend and I took a day trip to Rhode Island to go skydiving. We had been talking about it for over a year, both itching to experience what it was like. The result was something I was prepared for, but could never quite imagine the feeling. Now that my time in Italy is coming to an end, the comparison between my experience skydiving and what I've gone through here at NUin are remarkably similar. When I booked my skydiving date, I was extremely excited. I set a countdown on my phone and could not wait for the day, talking about it whenever I could. Signing up for NUin was very similar. On my application to Northeastern, I knew I wanted to be a part of the program and was very sure of going to Rome. When I received my acceptance letter and quickly chose Rome as my destination, my excitement matched that for my jump. I told all my friends about what I would be doing and couldn't help myself from talking about it at every opportunity I had. As the date approached for my dive, the excitement began to switch to nerves. I began watching videos, picturing myself as the person flying up in the plane, watching the doors swing open. Although I knew what would be happening when I signed up, the actual reality of jumping out of a plane at 10,000 feet began to set in, and I was terrified. Similarly, with my semester abroad in Rome, as the date of our flight approached, I increasingly became more nervous. Nothing was coming as a surprise to me, but the reality of living in a different country for 3.5 months was becoming incredibly daunting. I had never spent more than 2 weeks away from home, and although I had traveled to Europe before, I was not sure how I would do it without the support of my friends and my family. When the date finally approached, I was terrified, and getting onto the plane was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Just like in skydiving, I had to make the jump, but once I did, it was bliss. There has never been a moment in my life that can compare to falling from the sky, but the beginning of our journey resembled it. It was as if all of my nerves escaped me, and all I could feel was the enjoyment of true freedom, both from falling in the sky and from experiencing Europe for myself. Immediately, I wanted to enjoy every second, and the best way to do this, it seemed, was by expanding my global mindset. Obviously, coming abroad for the first semester of college was the first step in achieving that, but I could not stop there. Immediately, I, along with some friends, explored Rome to the best of our abilities, booked trips all across of Europe, and even joined clubs at JCU to engage with the community. The highlight of all of this for me was trying out for the soccer team with just about 10 other kids that spoke English, 2 coaches that only speak Italian, and 12 of the best soccer players that I've ever played with, who come from all over Italy and the world, playing together at JCU. Luckily for me, I made the team and was immediately interacting with kids like Giorgio, a 22-year-old from Rome, Dito, one of my good friends on the team from Libya, and Jose, the team captain from Mexico City. I truly felt like I was flying. However, just like in skydiving, after the bliss of flying, the fear of falling sets in. This momentary fear happens just before the parachute is deployed, as the ground is approaching rapidly and the freedom from the jump passes and turns into the worry of the fall. This moment in Rome happened for me just about 3 weeks in, when I became sick for a week. During the week, I was stuck in bed, and the bliss of the trip seemed to fade away. However, a week later, and 15 pounds lighter, I came out of the sickness with yet another important skill I've learned in Europe, the skill of well-being. Not only had I made meaningful relationships with people that were able to help me throughout the week, but I also managed to get into contact with the on-call doctor, figure out my insurance plan, and create an appointment at the local hospital, eventually receiving the medication that brought me back to life and opened up my metaphorical parachute. After the parachute had opened, I realized, through my addition of these skills, that I was set up for a fantastic remainder of the trip. This included trips to Amsterdam, Munich for Oktoberfest, and cities all around Italy. Additionally, I was able to spend a weekend with the soccer team for a trip to Croatia, where we played teams from all around the world. When I tried out for the team, being selected for the trip was a goal of mine, as only 16 members were allowed to attend. This accomplishment was something I could truly be proud of. It made me realize the power of the skill of professional and personal effectiveness, setting a goal for yourself and being able to reach it. My final weekend here, I spent in Interlaken, Switzerland with my good friends, and of course, went skydiving over the Swiss Alps. As I fell to the ground, I could only think about my entire experience here in Rome, and when I finally landed, just as my trip here is finally coming to an end, I was left with no regrets and the experience of a lifetime.